What's the phone of 2024? With a budget less than $300. This year I tested dozens of phones to find out their battery life and share the results with you, so now I've decided to rank the best models. To find the answer, I have prepared the most common models from iPhone 10 to iPhone 13. Before testing and drawing conclusions, I start by presenting them, so stay tuned if you want to find the perfect model for you. The first and cheapest is this iPhone 10, which costs around $100 with the specifications shown here. The battery health is 74% and has 2014 charge cycles. Being the first iPhone without a physical home button, it's a phone launched 7 years ago, but it still does its job well. The only problem would be that it's not compatible with iOS version 17 and 18. The second is the Max variant of the X, which is a year newer, and it costs around $150. With the best battery health of 80% and 1546 charge cycles. We'll see if it will be the best in this test. Moving on, and next up is the iPhone 11 Pro, which is also a budget phone, priced at $200. After 5 years since launch and with a pretty degraded battery health, having 1651 charging cycles, we'll see together if it's worth it or not. The fourth is its big brother, launched in the same year, and today it can be purchased for $270. Battery health is 75% and has 1143 charging cycles. I have high expectations from this model. Next up, and the smallest in the presentation, is this iPhone 12 mini that can be purchased today for $200. Launched 4 years ago, battery health is pretty degraded on this one too. With a small screen of 5.4 inches and 1853 charge cycles, we'll see together what the result will be. With a newly implemented 5G network in this series, the penultimate is the iPhone 12, which at the moment can be purchased for $260. With a good battery health of 78% and 1538 charge cycles, we'll see if it will be the best in this test. Moving on, we come to the last and the most expensive of the presentation. This is the iPhone 13 that can be purchased for $300. Being the newest one, only 3 years old, with 75% battery health and 933 charging cycles, we'll see how it will perform compared to the others. The phones will go through a few tests and will each receive points from 1 to 7, where 1 is the minimum and 7 is the maximum. So let's move on to the first test, which will show how fast the phones boot up. The result will show which phones have the fastest processors. After plugging all devices into the socket, I press the main switch so that they all receive power at once. These are the results from the first test, and we can see which processor is the fastest. Moving on to the download speed test. On each device, I'll do 3 speed tests and average them. The wireless router is approximately 10 meters from the phones, and the signal must pass through 2 walls. Let's see what the results will be. We have the results after 3 tests, so I will average and present the ranking. Although it is the oldest, the iPhone 10 manages to be in a very good position. The iPhone 11 Pro is disappointing, but we will see in the next test if it will remain in the last position. One of the most important aspects of a used phone is the battery, so in the following test we'll see how long each device lasts. I will reproduce in this comparison some activities that we use in everyday life. Putting phones to the stress test without a break, using them an hour on TikTok, an hour on YouTube, using the camera in video recording mode, and playing familiar games. In order for the test to be as relevant as possible, all devices are reset and have the same settings, automatic brightness is disabled, and are 100% charged. Each of them runs with the latest software version available, so the iPhone 10 runs with 16.7.1 and the others with 18.2. I'll show the results every hour until they stop, one by one. The batteries don't have much life left, and the phones are about to shut down. To my surprise, the first to shut down is the iPhone 13, which lasted 4 hours and 36 minutes. As the first to shut down, it only gets 1 point. We move on, and after about 15 minutes, the iPhone 12 mini, which has lasted almost 5 hours, shuts down. It gets 2 points. Just a minute away, the iPhone X shuts down. Considering its age, it did well and gets 3 points. Next, I turned the camera on video mode on the rest of the devices. They passed the 5 hours threshold without any problems. And at 5 hours and 20 minutes after the start of the test, the iPhone 12 shuts down too, and it gets 4 points. 2 minutes away, with an autonomy of 5 hours and 22 minutes, the iPhone XS Max also shuts down. With an excellent result, it gets 5 points. I was left with 2 phones in the test, and it seems that one of them will get the maximum score. The penultimate one that closes and has an excellent autonomy is the iPhone 11 Pro, which lasted 5 hours and 47 minutes. It gets 6 points. And here we are at the best device considering the battery autonomy. It easily passed the 6-hour threshold and receives the maximum score. Having the current results, let's move on to calculating the ranking. The iPhone 11 Pro Max is in the first position. It receives 7 points, and we will add it to the ranking. Even though it had an excellent result in the battery test, the iPhone 11 Pro gets 6 points, but even so it remains in a lower position. I will add the points to each, so that we can see the ranking. This is the ranking after 3 important tests. Let's take each category to find out who was the winner. So, in the speed test we had the iPhone 13 in first place. Although it is the oldest, the iPhone 10 won in the second stage, it having the best download and upload rate. In the battery test, the iPhone 11 Pro Max lasted the longest, surpassing the 6-hour threshold of continuous use. So my final conclusion is that the best budget phone of 2024 is the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and let's talk between us, I think it will be the same in 2025. Thanks for watching.